Save the semantics episode. What the fuck are we at? 110? Shit, I don't know. I think it's 10. I think it's 110. Um it is April 14th. I am a fucking mess. It is April 19th, 2020. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on about shit that I've done, things that I've found interesting, excuse me. And just things that have been kind of happening in my day-to-day life. It's probably a bad idea to record while eating McDonald's, you know? Just stopped by the drive-thru. Wanted to get myself a little something. Get some fries. Haven't had some fries in a while, so wanted to cop some fries. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Also got a soft serve and a McDouble. McDouble makes it seem like it's a lot more than what it is, but it's actually pretty small. It's one of like the smaller burgers that they have to offer. So yeah, just stopped by, kind of treating myself a little bit. Because why not? It's a Sunday. Tomorrow is 420. Which means what usually happens on a 420, is that, everyone gets high, like, basically everyone, and everyone that, smokes the marijuana, they do that, especially the people on my campus, that's what they do. But this year is obviously going to be a little different. Things are, people are going to get high, safely at home, hopefully. Hopefully nobody does anything crazy. Hopefully people don't start going out all of a sudden, Nothing's even open. I don't even know why people, like, I'm seeing all these, like, news footages of, like, people hanging out and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? There's nothing, there's, like, not really, I'm not saying you can have fun. You can't have fun without, going to, like, a bar or anything. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying, like, there's nothing really open except the grocery stores, Then I guess, like, people are doing, like, bonfires and that sort of thing. People can do bonfires. I'm not saying go do bonfires. I'm just saying that's what some people seem to be doing, or just, like, congregating and doing other shit for no real reason, which I don't understand for the life of me. There's, like, a protest going on, apparently. I think it was, like, in LA, or, like, at least, like, in LA County or something like that, where people were getting together and, like, protesting the coronavirus because they thought it was, like, a fluke or some shit like that. I don't understand that, man. I don't understand those people. Like, I know that, sometimes when it comes to things that are kind of unforeseen, or these almost out of left field events, like, people, kind of hold on to these, like, conspiracy theories to sort of, absolve them of their fear or whatever, like, they feel like, because because this is a conspiracy, therefore it's not as bad as we make it seem. Like, it's a lot more logical now, So, like, people kind of develop these fixations on, like, the 5G coronavirus, like, conspiracy and that sort of thing, where, the whole thing about that is that now 5G is becoming sort of a thing for it's not 4G, they're updating it to 5G. These 5G towers are now going up in some places, and so, people think that correlation is causation. They think that because of these towers have been going up around the same time that the virus has started to spread, therefore, they're directly linked to each other, which is, ridiculous, obviously. But I understand. I try my best to understand the reasoning behind that. The reasoning is just like, no, well, like, it's just, it isn't implausible to say that, that kind of thing. It's just in their heads, they think that's what makes sense. They don't want to accept the facts. They don't want to accept, like, the science behind, the fact that this was an outbreak that was started in a region in China due to, specific like food markets and that sort of thing. They can't really wrap their minds around that, mainly because, like, one, maybe they don't understand it. They don't want to try to understand it, so they just kind of feed themselves information that makes them feel safe and makes them feel, smart about themselves, right? They want to feel validated in some sort of way, so that's why they kind of cling on to these, like, conspiracies. At least that's what I feel like in my eyes. I feel like they're kind of just doing that to validate themselves, and also just to make them feel less scared about the situation, as opposed to thinking about the whole situation like scientifically, I guess. I've tried to avoid, seeing all that. Excuse me. I definitely limited the amount of news that I read on a daily basis, just because that it can't be good for my health and that sort of thing. Just being as informed about the subject as I can. Just knowing what's going on currently, what's going on in my area, what's going on in the U.S. and that sort of thing, of course. But outside of that, I've just kind of stayed low, lay low on the topic until things hopefully clear up. Anyways, we got our weekly dose of Corona shit out of the way. Let's talk about something else. I've just been kind of, chilling. I've been keeping as busy as I have been with classes. Same old, same old. And just watching stuff, I've been doing my best to just kind of relax. It's just been alright, Like I've said before, like, this really isn't that... It really isn't that much of a change in pace of my regular routine. It's just, I live my life pretty quietly day to day, so this, like, what I'm doing now isn't really all that different or drastic in a sense, I think that, for some people, obviously it is, because, like, some people are always out and about, and I am out and about, but, like, I'm not like constantly out doing shit, I do it, when I have to. I go out when I have to. Saving money on gas and that sort of thing. That's like one good thing, is that I've been saving money on gas and I haven't had to really go anywhere. I haven't had to really drive or anywhere or anything like that. But yeah, I've been just keeping busy with shows and games and that sort of thing. I've started not rewatching, but I've started up watching Better Call Saul again. I've missed that show. I've been missing that show, Currently I'm watching the 4th season on Netflix. I know that the 5th season is currently airing, which which sucks, because I used to, I think it was like the 3rd season I was trying to keep up watching every episode on like AMC when it was, airing. But obviously now I can't do that. Also, we don't have cable, so I can't really do that. But I've been watching the 4th season. It's been pretty good. I've forgotten how good just like everything about the show is. That, obviously in Breaking Bad and everything, but just the style of the show is just so, like, eye-catching, just the way everything is filmed. Like, I love the thing I love, like, of course, the characters and the plot and, the everything that, drives the story is great. But, like, what I love is also just, like, the presentation. I love, like, the cinematography and, like, the little things that they do. Like, I always appreciate the little cam shots that they do, where, like, I don't exactly know how they do it, but, like, they have the camera view of, like, if someone is, like, throwing something into the garbage, like, you're getting, like, a POV of, like, inside the garbage can, and, like, or if, like, Saul or someone else is, like, making coffee, you see, like, the coffee being made inside the percolator, or, like, that's sort of, like, the, I really like those kinds of, fly on the wall kind of shots. I think that's great. I think it kind of adds a lot to, like, the the style and the character of the show too. I think that it's a lot of people are saying that Better Call Saul is better than did I say Better Call Saul? Is it Better Call Saul? Yeah, what am I talking about? Is better than like Breaking Bad, which I don't know. I think it's two different shows. Um, and I think Better Call Saul is a little more slower in just sort of the way it's developed over the course of time. I think like Breaking Bad like kind of starts off like right off the bat, like just kind of bang bang and shit happening. Of course, it has its slow moments and its character development and that kind of thing, but Better Call Saul is definitely a lot more like procedural, if you know what I mean. Like it's much more like it really tries to like, you know, not drag things out, but sort of like make sure that these people get, you know, the screen time that the writers feel like they deserve and that sort of thing. They really flesh things out. That's what I wanted to say, is that, you know, they really flesh out the characters in every episode, which I think is good. So I've been watching that. I think I don't know if I talked about Ozark, but I finished Ozark a little while back. I thought it was pretty good, pretty crazy ending. Um, I think I'm in agreement with most people when I say that season 3 was a little better than season 2. I do miss, this might be spoilers, but I think I do miss some of the characters from the past couple of seasons. Like I miss Petty, the FBI agent. I thought he was kind of like an interesting character. Um, and I also miss what's his face? Is Darlene's husband. I forgot his name. I thought he was an interesting character as well. I kind of miss his voice, and he has like a thick Southern accent. I think the actor is actually from Scotland, I think, but he puts on a very like thick Southern accent, which is like kind of cool. I miss his character a little bit. But overall, I thought the season was really well done, super tense, a lot of interesting situations, interesting characters, especially Ben, who is Wendy's brother, who kind of comes onto the scene. I thought he was great. Um, but yeah, I've been watching that. I've been watching Better Call Saul. I wanted to get around to watching this, and I finally kind of, you know, got around to it. But I watched Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. I've been kind of wanting to watch that movie for a little while, just because like the premise seemed very interesting. The way the presentation seemed kind of unconventional, and I kind of like that. I like sort of stepping out and watching some things that are not exactly my cup of tea. You know, like I think, you know, some things I'm never gonna really get into, like some sort of like edgy, etchy sort of like movies. I don't know if I'd really get into that kind of thing. But you know, Under the Skin is very it's very like cerebral and very it's very different for sure. Essentially, if you're ever interested, I won't give too much away, but the main sort of thrust of the story is that you're following this like alien, played by Scarlett Johansson, and she kind of lures men into her lair, sort of, to like have them processed, kind of, you know. Well, that might be giving it too much away. But anyway, she's like an alien, and she stalks prey in a sense, you know. And the way everything is presented is like very vague, and not everything is clear. Like things are not spelled out; they're shown, you know, which I think is like a good way is a good storytelling technique. You know, sometimes instead of having a bunch of fucking exposition, you have, you know, you just show a scene, and then like people are like, oh, okay, like they're kind of able to put the pieces together, and I feel like I was able to kind of do that for the most part. Some parts I was like, what the fuck? You're like, what the fuck is this? Obviously there's a lot of like symbolism and that sort of thing, but I feel like for the most part, like I was trying my best to like pay attention. I was like, okay, I kind of got the gist of it, you know. But I guess like it is definitely different though. Like it's not something where it's like for some people it's gonna definitely be like a mind fuck for sure, you know, if you're not given some clue or some context as to what the situation is, you know. I think yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'm gonna watch it again anytime soon. It's definitely slow. You know, like it's definitely slow, but there was one part in the movie where I was like I was like had my like jaw dropped. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck just happened?" Like that was just like a crazy moment, and I was like freaking out. Just in my room just looking at the screen. That was a great moment where it just caught me off guard, you know. There's a lot of creepy moments in it, but I kind of appreciate that just the way it was presented and the way it kind of fit in with like the story and everything. I thought it was a really well done movie. Again, I don't know if it's something that everyone would be into or what, you know, but if you want to challenge yourself, you know, go ahead. Give it a shot. Give it a shot for sure. Outside of that, I've been watching this one on Netflix. I've watched this one reality TV show called The Circle. Um and it's interesting. I'm like I'm not a fan of reality TV at all. I like Queer Eye. Queer Eye is a lot of fun, but outside of that, most of the shit is just kind of garbage, you know. And this show is not like, you know, it's not high art or anything, but it has an interesting concept. Basically, it's a game show where you have these contestants. They live in like the same apartment complex, but they all live in separate rooms, and they connect and they contact one another through this app called the Circle. Basically, you can set your profile to be whatever you want it to be, and your the way you win is you try to get voted like the most popular, essentially, right? Like you try to develop these friendships between all these people without actually showing your physical face to them, right? So like you have, you know, the kind of the drive of the show is like these like catfishing, right? People that are putting on like a fake persona and that sort of thing, right? Like you have these people that are like there was a guy, at least for the U.S. version, there was a guy that, you know, pretended to be a girl. There was a woman who pretended to be another woman, like that sort of thing. So you know, there's a lot of interesting ways to kind of play that game. It's like, do you want to try to be, you know, do you want to be yourself, or do you want to try to play this character really well and try to convince people that you are actually like a genuine person and that sort of thing? I think, at least for the US version, I feel like like the emotional relationships sort of definitely like played out to be the most important factor in terms of development and that sort of thing. Like, I think and it seemed very genuine too, like the way relationships sort of like developed in the show really seemed like, you know, they actually was like happening and that sort of thing. So I think that the emotional factor, like how much of a connection you have with the rest of the players, really kind of, you know, like how much they respect you, or they you know take, you know, they like you, like it really plays a major role in determining whether you can win the game or not, you know. I started watching, so I think there's on Netflix there's three versions. There's the US version, which I just finished watching a little while back. There's the Brazilian version, and then there's the French version. And the Brazilian version is the one that I started watching. I stopped watching it because now I'm watching Better Call Saul, but I'll probably get back into it a little later. I think the techniques that they use in the Brazilian version is a lot more interesting than the American one, because there's more catfishes for one. That makes the game a lot more interesting. So you have you have a guy pretending to be a woman. You have a woman pretending to be a guy. You have a guy pretending to be an older guy, and then you have I think there's one more, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But like there's more catfishes, there's more interesting things. Like they do more subtle changes too. Like a guy or one of the girls changed her age, like she made herself younger, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like I think the American one, everyone was a lot more honest about who they were, which is interesting. I don't know, maybe that's like a cultural thing, you know? It's a cultural difference, like Americans being more upfront about who they are. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, but it is it's cool to kind of see like sort of the different strategies that people are trying to use in order to develop like relationships with the other players and trying to get the most appeal the most to them and that sort of thing. So if you're into like reality TV, I'm not in particular, but sometimes I'll get to watching these kinds of things, and I think this one kind of caught my eye just because the premise was a lot more different in comparison to other reality shows. And the thing is, like, it's not like it's different from say like The Bachelor or something, because like the main goal of The Bachelor is that you want to get with the person, you want to get with the Bachelor, you want to get with the Bachelorette. But with this show, it's like you want to try to appeal to everyone. So that's sort of, with that element in mind, kind of takes things in sort of a different direction, which is cool. So if you're interested, check it out. It's a fun show. I like, and I liked a lot of the actual contestants too. They seem like pretty cool people. So I think having that appeal definitely helped my enjoyment of the show. So yeah, that's that. Not a whole lot else really going on, and I'll leave it at that. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.